Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. This is Nathaniel Kempson Productions here today, and welcome to building a model railway, I suppose, or rather modifying a model railway is more accurate. As you can see, I've got quite the mountain of parts in front of me. I'll run them through one by one. So today I'm doing a little bit of electrical work for Somersby Orchards, my narrow gauge layout. So I've got some simple on-off switches here. You can see these are from Expo Tools, from Hatton's. Next up, again bought from Hatton's, some wire from Gauge Master. And next up is one PM2 seep point motor. One because the one that this is replacing actually outright broke. If I get it close, you can see the parts list there, and there's the motor itself. I might not be doing that in this video. We'll see what happens. So here I've got the point control module. This is the sister unit to the one that is currently fitted to my 00 gauge layout law barrow. As you can see, I've taken two out, here and here. I only need these two. There's only 4 points that need to be controlled on Somersby Orchards, and 2 of them can be wired to work at the same time, so that's why there's only 3 there. As you can see, I'm obviously modifying it so that the on-off switches here will fit in the gaps, and of course, you know, no points for guessing. These are for controlling the various not points, sections that I'm going to have in the yard, so I can park more than one engine in the same siding. Big pot of flux, reel of solder, you can see here, soldering iron, parts and accessories for the Dremel, which is this here. The first thing that I think I'm going to want to do is put these switches in here and link up the middle terminals for those switches. So I'm not going to crack open the new wire just yet. I am, however, going to need the solder. I'm actually going to reuse some old wire that I've already got, which I'll have to go and grab now. Okie dokie. So here's the extra wire that I'm going to use. It's a nice decent length just for doing this, so I shouldn't be wasting any. And I've also grabbed the chocolate block terminal that sits somewhere here on the module. So the point switches will go on this side here, as will the insulating switches, and then the outputs will be on this side here. The first thing I'm going to need to do is extend this little oh, actually I can use this side, seeing as that one's already extended. So this one I can chop off as close as I can. Amen for Xuron track cutters. So I can get in nice and tight on that now, and oops, get them stuck. Bang, there we go, gone and out of the way. This is the end that is going to go out to the feed, sorry, for the middle points of all of these switches. So this is going to need to be slightly extended, so I need to carefully strip the end of it like so and attach a short length of this to it. Then I can solder it, and that will never ever come apart, he says. Okay, there we go. Had to polish the tip of it a little bit because it was a little bit. Try and get the camera to focus. Yeah, there you go. It was a little bit grimy, so I had to just polish the end of it a little bit with the Dremel tool here. Just turn this on slow speed and just touch it on just to shine it up a little bit, and it was able to function correctly. I never actually properly tinned the end of this tip, so yeah. Anyway, in theory I should probably insulate that with something, but at the moment I don't have anything, but when I install it on the layout I will have something. Captain semi-prepared here actually had some insulating tape he forgot he had. Now obviously really what I should have done was ordered some heat shrink tubing, which I think Hatton's also stock if I remember, but tape does the exact same thing. It's a little bit easier and it's a bit cheaper. There we go. So now that can touch anything it wants to and it won't short anything out. I need to connect all of these middle pins up, which is going to be slightly tricky because I'll have to bend it out of the way of the on-off switches that will go in these holes here. That all went in my face then. So you might not be able to see this very clearly, but I have managed to grind them a little bit flatter, so it should be a little bit easier now to get the wire soldered to that. I could, if I had a flexible drive tool, try and drill the holes out, which actually I could try. So I'll just very quickly change this over, drill these out. And there you go. You might not be able to see it. I'll try and angle it right. No, it doesn't look like the camera's going to focus on it. Well, a little bit, I suppose. Nah, anyway. The hole is... all the holes I have gone through. Seeing as I was basically just drilling out solder, it was a nice, simple, easy job anyway. So the next thing is going to be soldering these in place, which now we've got holes going all the way through the middle pole of the switches is going to be fairly easy and straightforward to do. So basically what I've done is I've taken all of the strands of the wire and made them into one. There we go, you can see there. It now forms one piece rather than lots of little strands. And that also means that it's going to be easier to get it through the holes here, which I can do if I actually cut that little bit of kink off the wire. There, you can see that has gone through the hole nicely. If the camera will focus, knocked it a bit. Yeah, there we go. You can see it's gone through the hole there quite nicely. So I've put this one in here, the middle one, and what I'm going to do now is just touch a tiny little bit of flux onto the end like so, and I'm also going to bend that bit down and back onto the to the pin of the switch there. Should probably have chosen a smaller soldering tip for this, but never mind. And there it is, soldered on there. Nicely. See if I take it out there. It's not going anywhere. Ta-da! Camera. Chop off the lumpy bits from either end of the cable there, which I already did on the other one. And poke it through the hole. Like so. Like so. So there's now another hole just above where the other one was, where this can be poked back through. So again, I'll chop off the lumpy bit, just put the longer bit in instead of the little extra piece at the end. So I'll do that. That's a good idea. Okie dokie, there we go. So, got the jumper wire in the middle, got the power out wire there, and the other jumper cable there. So what I've got to do with these two now is twist them together and poke them through the middle hole on the middle switch. Okay, that's the hole enlarged, as usual there. So I just need to bind these two together with a little bit of little bit of solder. Solder that in. Trim off any excess that might be in the way. I think there might be a little bit in the way, but that's fine. That's to be expected. Okay, there we go. Now, that is very slightly touching the other pin. So I just need to extremely carefully trim the excess off the end of that I've just soldered. You can see there. And I'll just now check all of the others to make sure that they're all nice and clear, which they are. I'll still trim the excess off just for good practice. Got our jumpers in there now. So now I can fit two of these on-off switches into those holes. Only needs to travel that short distance, so it doesn't need to be very long at all. So that's all fine. I can use this scrap piece without even breaking into the new wire, which is good. Just to make my life a little bit easier, I will fix these into the holes in the faceplate here of the point module, and you can see now the principle. You've got point switch, section switch, point switch, section switch, followed by another point switch. So it's nice and easy, and it's all in one easy to reach unit, and it's easy to distinguish which switch does what, because as you can see, the point switches stay central, they toggle back to the middle, but the on-off switch is either one way or the other, so you won't get them muddled up either. And to keep things nice and simple, you can see on the back face there, I've kept the terminals for the on-off switches pointing in the same direction as each other, just to make my life a little bit easier when it comes to soldering them in, and if anything goes wrong, fault finding. So now that they're in there like that, I can begin attaching the wires to them. And now, surprise, surprise, I'm going to tin them. Bet you didn't think I was going to do that. Yeah, the camera won't focus on that. So now, just need to solder them to the appropriate switches. Going to put a small kink on the ends and form that into a loop, as you can see probably here. There we go, you can see there I formed the little loop on the end of it, or a hook rather, so I can, unsurprisingly, hook it on the switch like so. This, kids, is why you should always have a damp piece of cloth with you to clean the tip of your iron. Alright then, as you can see, we've got isolating switches wired up now. Just tuck the wires where they're supposed to go. Yep, there we are. And then the jumpers that just avoid getting caught up with this lot here. And that's the basic, well, the first bit of wiring done. So I'll turn the soldering iron off. There we go. Oops. I will be doing the rest of this in another video and on another day. So I'll sit and edit this, see how it turns out. Then tomorrow, maybe the weekend, I'm not sure, be able to do the rest of it and fit it to the layout. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in part 2. Goodbye!